my blue. Don't be blue.
Hey, what's going on? It's Walt with One Fall WrestleCast. Man, we got a lot to talk about today. AEW Revolution. Was it good? I don't know. We're going to talk about it. Vince McMahon does his first public interview in 15 years. We're going to talk about the Pat McAfee show. Also, Derek wants to talk about Control Your Narrative's first show. So we're gonna touch on that. Hey man, it's gonna be interesting here. Let's just dive into it, man. Tom's a little cranky today, so just a little bit.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
Yo, what's up, dudes?
Hi, fellas.
Up, dudes?
How's we doing?
Derek, what's the tattoo you have on your wrist?
It's
For
Slender Man.
Third Eye Blind. Yeah, it's
thought it was
Icarus is what it's actually supposed to be.
I thought it was a wiener.
It's Slender Man.
No. I have a wiener on my wiener. That's
Okay,
as
that's
far
even
as I
better,
go.
actually.
Yeah.
That's really good, actually.
That way, it's like you match the shapes,
Yeah. It would have been weird if you'd have done it the opposite, like if the shaft was if the head was pointing towards the balls. That'd be funny.
Like no one should tattoo a butthole on their wiener or something. Then you might get confused.
Jesus.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Wow. This escalated quickly. Goodness gracious.
What is up, boys? This is a great week.
That went everywhere I hoped it would be.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. I feel like I haven't been here forever. This is the first time I've been on time in 2 weeks. I'm pumped. I'm ready.
Well, thanks for coming to the show, guys. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.
Hey, at least there's no... At least there's no Dwayne the Cock Johnson.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I got a new headset. It's much slimmer and lighter. I don't know if the mic's any better. I'll decide but it's attached to my head now, so I can wander around. The mic's not better, Source.
That's good.
It is
wireless is a nice. I mean, you
nice
can get up and. Are you gonna dance on the desk or any new tricks you're gonna pull out?
I mean, I might stand here and yo-yo instead of but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Ooh.
We'll see how my life ends up. So there was wrestling or something this week?
There was all kinds of wrestling this week.
Oh.
But you want to know, guys, what I think we're going to start the show with, and I got to feel like this is probably the biggest topic of the entire week. And that is very much Vince McMahon joining Pat McAfee on Thursday.
That is the biggest topic.
2:22 in the afternoon. Man, this was great. When the news first broke, I said, man, this is going to be must-see TV. And it did not disappoint. I think that the big thing that we can take away is, Vince is still very much in love with what he does, right? And Derek, I'm interested to get your take on this because, you were texting me very late in the evening. Said, I just watched Vince. So, Derek, let's talk about Vince McMahon on Pat McAfee, bud.
Yeah, I wrapped that up at about 2 a.m, and that was the first time I'd actually watched a Pat McAfee or even listened to a Pat McAfee podcast, and I came away very impressed. I mean, I know one of the texts I sent you at one point was, I feel like we had Vince, we had the character Vince for 20 minutes or so in the beginning, maybe not even that long. But I really feel like once he got settled in and really got to talking into the meat of everything, you could just see the passion. I hate to talk shit on the old man and question all of his choices after he kind of explains everything so well, and really there's rhyme behind his reason. Obviously,
That's
I
that's
mean, you
that
don't get
Jedi
this far in
mind
the
trick.
business. Yeah, I guess so.
It's that
This is
Jedi
not the
mind
Vince
trick,
you're looking
bud.
for.
That's that
But-
Jedi mind trick. He says that everybody says it pulls on him. That's you saw it there live and
It's great.
live and in person.
Like, I walked away not even caring that he, didn't, that he released a majillion people and lost all kinds of talent while cutting costs and
It's all
being the
right.
most profitable that he's ever been while ruining families around Christmas.
No, well, see, what I've continued to say about this though is that he released all those people, yeah, but then he finally gave WWE or AEW the ability to get some good fucking talent. I mean,
That he did.
he's like fucking Santa Claus. If you want to look at it from that perspective.
Named talent at that.
Yeah.
Talent
Like
that the public can resonate with right off the bat.
Look, he slung his giant sack over his shoulder and was handing out the presents. But
Yeah.
no, I thought it was a good. I thought it was a really good interview. It was very by the numbers. It was very safe. That was the criticism I saw online. But like Pat McAfee literally works for Vince McMahon. I actually think he got more out of him than I thought he was going to.
I would agree with that.
I didn't
Sure.
think he would get. I kind of assumed for him to be sort of a like fanboy about like it was clearly done as a like. I am the he is employed by Vince McMahon. It was clearly done in that fashion. Pat McAfee wasn't going to do anything outside of the box, but Vince really opened up to him. I felt like,
Yes,
and really talked about a lot of things and did some sort of un-Vince McMahon things. And I really think that Pat McAfee was the right guy. If you're going to do that as WWE as a brand, I think Pat McAfee is really the guy you do that for, and just let that go. So I thought that was really good. It was very interesting. I mean, that's the one thing. Say what you will about Vince McMahon, but whenever he's there, I mean, he's a spectacle, right? And whenever he's on something, it's like, oh, I gotta watch that.
Oh, absolutely polarizing. Like, and I think that Pat did a really good job touching on it too, right? That, bro, you're Vince fucking McMahon. Like,
right?
People want to hear what you have to say, whether you think they do or not. And I think Pat did a really good job of humanizing Vince McMahon for the general public.
Well, I think he did a good job of two things. One, humanizing him as a person, and I think that maybe not seeing the guy or not letting him be involved in things and give. And he had not really given a lot of interviews lately. Like you said, it was like 15 years or something. So he had not given a lot of interviews, had not done a lot of stuff. You sort of lost that like. Does Vince McMahon have a heart? It's like, well, Vince McMahon's behind stage now. Nobody ever sees him. Everybody that leaves WWE only ever talks about what a great relationship they have with Vince McMahon as a person. Whether or not they like WWE as a machine is a different thing. But they always like have a lot of praise for him as a person. And I think you got to see that come out as well. But I think you also got to see that side of Vince McMahon that's very like business oriented, business oriented, and that side of Vince McMahon that is crazy. He really tried to explain that like crazy thought process that's going on in his head. And he said, like, oh, I'm up at 1:00 in the morning, I'm done working out at 3 a.m. Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
That was one of the things that stuck out to me. It was like, this guy's done with his workout, but I thought I was bad getting up at 4 to go in.
Yeah, you are.
Like,
but like, what time?
Like,
but think about like, what time does he go to bed? Because like, he's not. Because like,
Never.
He's running a wrestling show until 11 p.m. It's not like he's like. It's not like he's like in bed at 7:30. He's. What's he sleep for 2 hours a night and then.
I mean, that's if Linda doesn't want him to knock out the bottom. So,
I don't know if the old genetic jackhammer still.
Yeah. That genetic jackhammer ain't slowing down. He's on that eugenics Frank Thomas shit.
That's what happens between Frank Thomas. That's what happens between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. That's what that time slot is.
Yeah. He's got that scheduled. It's just in there.
That's penciled into the
and
day.
Then call and wake up Bruce about 4:30 with a great new idea that I'll come up with.
Call Bruce right after.
Oh man.
Don't even put pants on. Call Bruce.
Hey pal. Guess what
He's
I'm
good.
just got done doing? I don't want to know, Vince.
Same as yesterday. Yeah, pal.
So one thing that I thought was really interesting throughout this entire interview too was that Pat, like, and Tom, you kind of alluded to this. Pat did a really good job of like walking that line between, hey, this is the Pat McAfee show, and hey, this guy pays me in another world, and he asked some tough questions. One that really sticks out to me was about Saudi Arabia, and Tom, I'm sure that you were paying attention to that one with all of your ears and eyes.
Well, they kind of danced around it. I don't want to get into it as that like they danced around it a little bit because it's I had made the joke I think before when Russia invaded Ukraine, not that that's the thing to joke about, but I had said really what we ought to do is send Vince McMahon over to negotiate with the Saudis to increase their oil production so that we can then keep the price of oil extremely low for a minute so that we can entirely cripple Russia so that they can't invade Saudi or so that they can't invade the Ukraine. But that was sort of that jokes, which sort of like leads me into what they were talking about with they're wrestling fans and they're wrestling fans everywhere, and you want to put on a wrestling show wherever you can for the wrestling fans, and that's where the wrestling fans are. And so they go to Saudi Arabia to do that, and it's not necessarily that it's part of an evil regime. It's just these are people that are having fun, and they maybe deserve to have some fun, and I think that's a very humanizing way to look at them. That being said, I do think that Saudi Arabia is a terribly brutal country, and I don't necessarily know that I want to it's one thing to separate the people from the kingdom and from that sort of brutal regime that's going on there, but I guess there's a couple ways to look at it, right? Like you can look at it like, do the people of Saudi Arabia deserve some joy? Absolutely. Is that what WWE brings them? Absolutely. However, does Vince do it to bring joy or does he do it to make money?
Both.
Both. I
Yes.
think you saw that it's both. But let's face it, the money aspect wasn't there. He wouldn't give a shit.
Because it's not like he's coming to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 4 times a year.
Usually like twice.
Yeah.
It's usually a house show and then a Raw or something. But still, yeah, it's.
Hell,
right.
Hey, by the way, Pittsburgh is getting WrestleMania Go Home Monday Night Raw this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's a lot of wrestling. There's a lot of stuff. I feel like everything was on hold. I just bought Metallica tickets too.
Bro, I need to hop on that as well.
Adam and I are going, so yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do. They were $225 with all the fees and shit each. Yeah,
Not surprised. I know what I spent to see them a couple of years ago in Louisville. But yeah, Tom, I agree. I think that he did a very good job of dancing around that question a little bit and kind of giving a very, very PC PR type answer. They're just people. They just enjoy the Western culture. They may not like what we do with our government and such, but they enjoy what we do here. So I'm just content to bring it
to that, though. Yeah,
yeah.
I think there was some genuinity in that, though, for sure.
I mean, from one point, I can see what he said. But he also talked about, just because what we say is wrong, they say it's like, well, they're kind of like, they don't let their women read, so it's really like that's like we can agree that's wrong, right? Yeah. Their women are third class citizens. Like we can agree that's wrong, right?
Yes.
So while I respect what he's done in Saudi Arabia and sort of the stretches that he's made as far as like particularly bringing there were more women's wrestling matches in Saudi Arabia than there were on last night's AEW pay-per-view.
Yes.
Yeah, I was very surprised about that this year. It seems like every year it's gone more and more. Obviously the first year there was nothing. And then
Well, they couldn't. They say hard. They told him hard no because they
hard
pushed
pass
for it.
on that one.
Hard pass because Alexa Bliss and Natty were there because they were pushing for it. But
Mhm.
they were like, no. They're not ready for that. They're not ready. So like Alexa and Natty were there. They were backstage. They were with Vince the whole. I can't remember if it was Alexa or if it was Natty that was like, no, I sat next to Vince the whole night. I was there.
Well,
I
I
saw the
do
whole
know
night.
that the first women's match in Saudi Arabia was Natty and Lacey Evans, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you're right.
So,
And that would have been the following whatever it was.
So maybe it wasn't Alexa, maybe it was Lacey. Who
No,
knows, right?
it was Alexa was there the first time. She didn't wrestle. They were on the trip.
But I mean, that's absolutely, to your point, Tom, that's great for the women of Saudi Arabia because he's breaking down barriers with that, right?
It's something. It's not nothing. It's something. Has it been completely groundbreaking and has it changed their culture? No, but it's on the show. Maybe a few years from now, if these maintain, you might see, hey, women in Saudi Arabia now like to like wrestling. There may be the first Mansoor, but on the women's side.
Yeah.
We might get real wild and not make them wear long sleeve shirts.
Bingo. They could maybe wrestle in their regular standard ring gear.
Oh no, that's a push. That depends on who we're talking about.
Or close to. Yeah, it depends on who. It depends on who, but close, right? I mean, Lita was almost like Lita actually wore a shirt.
She looked normal. Yeah.
It looked normal-ish. Like I feel like she wore what would have normally probably been like those fishnets or just something like it was just a long shirt with the fishnets over top instead of it being like a more like frilly like kind of interesting thing that maybe showed off some tattoos or something. It was just more like, well, we're just going to wear the shirt that goes to here. But I thought it was fine, and this was probably the most normal one. But yeah, as far as the Vince McMahon interview goes, I really thought it was good. And it really it struck me how many hours a day the man puts in.
Yeah, absolutely.
At 76 years old, and boy, does his voice sound rough.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! I don't know what he did or what he didn't do, but it sounds like he busted a bunch of vocal cords and then literally didn't ever get that fixed.
Yeah, he definitely sounds rough. Hey, and another thing that I really took away from the Vince interview too, he was asked several times about AEW and competition, and Derek, I'm really anxious to get your opinion on what your takeaway was from Vince talking about AEW. Obviously, he never mentioned them, but he definitely had a couple of things to say. So
he alluded back to WCW a few times actually, but I guess he owns WCW.
Yeah, he owns that. So
yeah, I feel like he kind of tried to twist it around more towards a WCW aspect rather than an AEW aspect because he's not going to acknowledge them as competition. To him, there is no competition because unfortunately his son-in-law failed in his eyes in that competition for the Wednesday night dominance. And he touched on that as well with the whole family thing. Like, if the family and the business doesn't work out, someone else will. It's not a popularity contest. It's nothing personal. It's business. That's what it is. And, I didn't really expect him. I got excited whenever that first came up. It's like, oh man, is he really going to talk about AEW? Is he going to acknowledge them? Is he just, and then, I just think that there's this part of Vince that is like, no, I won't do it. He's come out of the territory system. He just destroyed that whole thing. And like he said in the interview, he should be dead right now. I mean, there were so many people that wanted him dead during that time. So for him at this point, he's made it so far. He's not going to acknowledge it. He doesn't care. No, he's a billion-dollar business.
I wouldn't say that he totally just swept them under the rug. I mean, he had positive things to say about some of the things that they've got going on from a building of the company standpoint. I mean, he said that it was it was a massive undertaking, and that there had been, companies that had tried before, and had not reached this level of success. I think my biggest takeaway about this whole part of Vince talking about competition was the fact that he was asked about AEW and the other competition at least two or three separate occasions, right? Not once did he have a negative thing to say. Like,
That's true.
you got to respect that. And, and the flip side of things, we've got this great alternative product over here, AEW, and they take pot shots at this poor man, every fucking chance they get. And Vince has a chance to do it, and he has a chance to bury Tony Khan and AEW. And he got nothing but nice things to say. You got to respect that, man.
Yeah, he could. There were more people have listened to that interview at this point than watched Dynamite last week. Than
guaranteed
for the rating. I mean, just comparatively, I know what the rating was. It was whatever 900 and some thousand and then that well over 1 million people have listened to that interview at this point. And it was like one of those things where it was like, you're right. I was sure he was going to put a dig in there. Because when I asked him about Michael Cole, he was like, horrible human being. What a horrible human being. It was hilarious. But, he got digs in on everybody a little bit. But totally, you're right, Walt. Would have a nice thing to say about AEW, sort of, but like kind of brush it off a little bit, and then, would sort of talk about, well, like back in the old days when, with WCW and this, that, and the other, and stuff like that. So that I thought that the way he answered those questions were very pointed. And no, you're right. I guess I didn't think about it that way. You're right, Walt. It was very. He was very complimentary to them, although he didn't speak much to it.
Absolutely. And one more thing, and then we'll get moving on past Vince here and Pat McAfee. But the thing that I saw, that I really enjoyed about the whole thing was just how like relaxed he ended up getting, towards the end, and how gracious he was with his time to Pat McAfee and the boys, right? And us as fans as well, knowing that this is something that, we needed to have, we just didn't know it, right? And he was very gracious with his time. And, the biggest takeaway that I take from the whole Vince McMahon thing is he's just out here living his best life, man, having a blast. And he's made a very conscious decision that he's not going to make his family business personal, and he's going to run his business like a business, and he's going to do that come hell or high water, regardless of what anybody says or thinks or anything concerning him and the way he runs his business. So, I think that right there is kind of just solidifies like Vince McMahon as a human being, right? Kind of gives you a full read on his character, his actual character in life. So, I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
I would say for certain him putting up everything that he owned from what he says for WrestleMania 1, kind of like you said, solidified that this is my business.
Yeah,
I'm going to run this as a business. There are no personal feelings here. No one else pawned any of their shit, No. This was all Vince's money. This was all Vince's savings. If this failed, from the way he words it, it was over.
Yeah, he said it was all cash flow. There was no, there was no revenue.
No,
it was just, well, what money did we make last week? Let's put it towards this week. Yeah, so great. But I would be interested to listen to a Vince McMahon interview again, maybe in another 10 years.
Yeah,
go ahead, Walt.
No, but you know what's interesting to me right now?
Huh?
All three of us had totally different opinions on things that we took from this, but not a single one of us addressed the line, "I do what the audience wants."
Well,
that did get said. That did get said. And apparently the hearing aid needs turned up. I don't know about that one.
That could be debated a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I think he tries sometimes too, but I think he does what he wants and what he thinks the audience wants. What he wants. I don't know that. I don't know that he is as in touch as he thinks he is. Although for him to say that at this point, when I think actually all the shows he has going on right now are pretty good, is different. It's a lot easier of a pill to swallow, sitting here in March of 2022 than it would have been in March of 2020. Or when was it
Yeah.
particularly sucky? I mean, that summer of 2020. When
Yeah.
it even
There was
10 months ago. I mean, there were parts like Raw was just like, even when like SmackDown like picked up and was actually good, like there was still a point where Raw was just, God, this is like the worst show. That was just so bad.
Oh, it was terrible. Terrible.
And then SmackDown would be good, and Raw was particularly bad every week. But so it's an easier pill to swallow, I think, now, because and maybe it just takes time. Maybe they had made some choices. Sometimes you take a wrong turn and you're lost for a little bit. You gotta get back on the track, and I think maybe that's where they were. So maybe
and there was a lot of
trying to
volatility in the talent and everything. I mean,
I think so. Still is.
Well, there was one cut through line in there where we had to cut some dead weight. Verbatim said that, and
yes, he
like,
did.
wow.
I mean, I don't.
Okay.
Looking back on it with I don't necessarily disagree with him, because he cut a lot of guys that I don't know are necessarily WWE guys, and that maybe not that nobody knows what to do with them, but that they're not wrestling stars or TV stars or whatever. It's just that they aren't going to be stars on WWE right now in the current landscape. Like what looking at it now, like, what were you gonna do with Keith Lee on Raw that's better than you putting Keith Lee in a ladder match with Wardlow last night, right? Right. Last night. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, are they don't have that spot for Keith Lee? You know what I mean? There's no ladder match with Wardlow, and a couple other guys on for some mid range that doesn't. That spot's not there. There's the storyline's not there. So I feel like particularly stuff like that is really probably from where his mindset is. It's a business, and he tried, and it didn't work out the way he had kind of hoped for it, and it was what it was.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And
we can be upset as fans because we're like, how stupid are you to miss this? How you messed up Samoa Joe? But
yeah, but it is what it is.
How you screw up Samoa Joe, idiot? Come on. My 5-year-old could book Samoa Joe. I don't have a 5-year-old, but still.
I did, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that it happened. So kudos to Vince McMahon for giving Pat McAfee and the fans 90 minutes of his time. I can't put him over enough for that. Very.
Pat put him over just fine for 90 minutes.
Well, yeah.
Let's leave that credit where the credit was due.
Hey, so you want to know what's not getting over?
Who? Now, their first show it seemed like a stumble. Derek, did you actually watch? Because I only read a few things.
I didn't watch it. Honestly, guys, with everything that was going on between the pay-per-view and with what I assumed was today's launch day of WWE 2K22, which was not. I was sadly mistaken.
It's tomorrow, and it's tomorrow's early access day for all the.
I'm totally in early access, but I just thought early access was today. So I'm live texting as I get home from work. Like, all right, guys, I got an update real quick, and then I'm ready to go. 6 minutes. Here we go. I'm gonna go take a shower. I'll be back. It's on. No, it was not on. It gave me the message that, oops, you are too early. It looks like you're trying to play something that is not available yet.
So,
are you sure, motherfucker?
You've got it installed, though?
It is.
Now?
It is installed and updated.
So what you're saying is you're gonna be ready at 12:01 p.m. tonight when it comes online. Well, you might be asleep then, but like you won't have to sit there through an install. You'll just get to play it whenever you get home from work. Well, that's good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Only took 2 days.
But yeah, control your narrative. I did a lot of reading on it and saw some videos and whatnot. I was excited in a mild sense before this started, just to see what it would do. I was a big fan of EC3 whenever he was in Impact, and also whenever he came to WWE. Before it was obvious that Vince was just going to take shit all over him and not let him do anything fun, and put him in the 24/7 Chase squad. And that was about it. And he came out and he talked a lot of big game, and it seemed like they were going to have something different, some alternative. But what we got, I just don't understand it. Apparently, it was a very small show in a very small venue. From what the local people at this
The
little
venue
pizza
looked
shop
dope.
or whatever it was like a brick area. That seems cool. But from what the locals were saying about the size of this place was like you fit like 24 people in there. I don't even know how you got a wrestling ring in there, is what kind of people were commenting about. So I don't know how well planned out it was. If it was a sellout, that's great for 24 people. I don't know. The match card was not that great.
I mean, they don't have any talent, really.
Yeah, there was a few guys there that I'm like, oh, all right, they're kind of a somebody. That's cool. But obviously, your main event is EC3 and Adam Shearer or Titan or whatever you want to call him now, Braun Strowman, going over, which was well so advanced. I mean, that was very obvious that we knew this was going to happen. It was very just. I feel like there was a ton of build up, a lot of hype, and then it was just a fart in the wind, boys. I hate to say that. I hate to be a negative about a new wrestling promotion. Because hey, I'm all about let's do more indies. Let's do anything. But
Well, I mean, I think a couple of things on that, because I read sort of the same thing you did. I didn't watch any of it, but I think I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because it's the beginning, right? It's they don't have a whole lot of money. They're just finding their legs. Nothing. You got to be able to walk before you can run, and crawl before you can walk. Maybe just stand up first. I think that's really where they are, trying to stand up. Do I think they have all of the name power that they think they have? No, I don't think that EC3 is enough of a household name. I don't know that Titan or Braun Strowman at this point is enough of a name to carry a company on his back pretty much by himself. I don't think EC3 is a name at all. And I didn't see, was Killer Cross there?
no, he'll be at the next show in Dallas.
Yeah, so like that's like you need all three of those guys on every show, and all like that has to be the thing, because like those are their three top guys. Like there aren't other guys. Like that's it. It's like those three guys got to be, and they all sort of have to be doing their own individual thing. They can't be. It can't be Titan and EC3 going over in the last match of the night. One, that's a terrible tag. Who would put those two guys together as a tag team? That's a terrible tag team combination.
Themselves.
Yeah, let's just put two huge dudes who are just gonna beat the tar out of two other dudes. Let's face it, neither of them are particularly those. They are very much WWE branded style singles competitors, right? They're not FTR. They're not tag team specialists. They're big, strong guys who look real good, who could do big, strong guy things. But you want them doing big, strong guy things to other people and stuff.
Other big, strong guys, maybe? I want to see some big man meat. Face offs will get some big man meat.
Yeah, but they've fought some jobbers, I think.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it wasn't a apples to apples comparison there.
No, it was so. I give them the benefit of the doubt for the one. The one thing that has me concerned though is their TV deal to be unnamed, wrestling subscription service. Like that's, I mean, is that could that be more doomed to fail? Really, like to not even get off the ground? Like who are you gonna like? Who is gonna pick up a new? Oh, let me buy this subscription service for whatever it costs a month. I don't even know if the price has been announced. Maybe it's free. That'd be good. Maybe it's free with commercials. That's fine.
Nah, they're trying to make this subscription service that they've signed with a big deal. Talking about maybe getting New Japan and Impact and everybody like all involved on this whatever this Watch Wrestling or whatever it is, the new app, that the new streaming service. So I
won't
don't
be
know,
mad
but
about it. Do that. Please combine everything into one pretty little package for me to buy at $9.99 a month.
Yeah, I mean, if they can handle that, and then it's New Japan, including pay-per-views, and it's pay-per-views for Impact, and like if the Impact back catalog is on there, that would be great. We could talk about Ring of Honor here, but yeah, I mean, I just don't know that it's gonna get to that point. And I was saying earlier, you got to be able to walk before you can run. This thing's not even off the ground yet. I understand what they're trying to do, but I don't know that there's the money or the talent behind it to do this yet. I hope there is. I hope it's great. I hope it's awesome.
Absolutely. I hope so.
I would love to come on here and be like, my match of the week was EC3 versus this guy on Control Your Narrative. Love it. I would love to say that. I just, I've watched a lot of wrestling in my day, and I'm maybe a little skeptical.
I think we all are kind of skeptical. I think the headline that I saw about this was kind of summed everything up the best. And it was CYN is absolute disappointment. So like you click on it and you go in and they're like, there's no chairs. Like there's like 15 people here. The venue's this, you know what I mean? And it's like, you hype something up like this, you've got to deliver on a little bit of a larger scale than something with like 15 or 20 people. And like, I mean, the clips that I saw, the crowd was absolutely into the show. So hopefully that, that translates and some more talent like the Cardonas and, things like that want to go there and work.
See, I think that's going to be an issue, though, is where you have Game Changer Wrestling over here that's doing something similar, but on a much cleaner and more matured level, I guess you could say, as far as the business side of things.
It's the boys taking back the business, pal. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, I would think that probably what would be best for them is that, to maybe run pay-per-views. Remember when New Japan and Ring of Honor would run pay-per-views alongside each other? And those would be pretty good. I mean, all the Ring of Honor guys would beat the New Japan, or all the New Japan guys would beat the Ring of Honor guys, but still, it was
as they should.
But that's what it was. They were like just jobbing them out to New Japan. But I feel like that's the kind of that's a sort of smart booking decision to go. Like, we put GCW in with Control Your Narrative guys, and you have them invade and do storylines and cross promote, do some TV cross promotion. I think that's cool. So but I guess we'll see. We'll see if it gets to that point. This clearly wasn't that, but whatever. You got to try something. You got to have a dry run. So
yeah,
like you said,
maybe that's what it was.
The crowd looked into it. I think that's what it was. That seems to me to be what it was. I was like, dry run. All right.
Well, we'll keep it going.
We'll see what happens in Dallas.
Yeah, Derek had a very interesting take. It wasn't even on the best website on the internet.
The only
the one. The
streaming site necessary for all wrestling fans that we do not speak of. You don't speak of the streaming site.
No.
You know what it is.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Exactly.
I'm talking about Tony Khan purchasing ROH. That's what I want to talk
about. How about that? Come on.
I like that. So I really, this to me is the first step in hopefully what becomes the AEW like streaming network, or maybe like a Hulu deal or something to that effect.
Word on the street
is,
through this purchase,
maybe
through
HBO
this
Max.
purchase, they're gonna have streaming service with HBO Max.
Yeah, I saw that. Like to have a tab on HBO Max where I'm not, and I'll complain about a $50 pay-per-view later, where it's their 4 pay-per-views a year are on HBO Max for $9.99 a month as opposed to $50 a pay-per-view, plus all that backlog of Ring of Honor and backlog of AEW and all that stuff. I think that is a super smart move and I do think that they needed, just like when WWE bought WCW, I think this is a fantastic move for them. All that back catalog, Ring of Honor in particular is 20 years of just great stuff. And for them, it's like they got CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole. I want to say Moxley was in Ring of Honor for a little while. Am I wrong in that?
Baby.
Well, yeah, I know
he was in.
I'm
I don't
not-
know if he was in Ring of Honor. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I
Because he
mean-
did the what the hell?
CCW.
Yeah,
and stuff like
CCW.
that.
that was
right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was his road. He never. I don't think he went through because you got the KOs and the Sami Zayns. They came through Ring of Honor. But,
So did
Yeah, those are guys. Yeah.
so did Tyler Black.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One Mr. Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Visionary.
Mr. Dancy Pants out there.
Hey, can I
Yeah.
say something about Seth Rollins? I've been holding this in for a few weeks, and I really have to fucking get it out. Listen,
He
like
gets
the
on
Seth,
my nerves. I hope he just trashes ass.
the Seth freaking Rollins thing is cool, okay? Until they made it a thing, and now like when they show his name, it says Seth freaking Rollins. Now it's annoying. Like, why did you do this? Why?
Just
Why?
say it in
It's
words.
what the crowd
Don't
wants. Ask Vince. He'll tell you.
Don't put it on this crowd can't see the screen. Don't put it on the screen. Don't put it freaking don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah, no,
That's
I agree.
the best reaction right there.
God.
Don't do that. No,
Yeah,
don't do that.
just
That
let it
that's
be organic.
that screams old guy cringy to me.
Yes,
That's
Yes,
what that is.
Yes, that is.
just let it be
that.
organic.
Somebody over the age of 50 decided to do that, and you won't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, his name was Vince McMahon or Bruce Pritchard.
I mean, it was one of those two, and they're both over 50, so that's why I said it.
So
I
So,
would
did you
have
guys
blamed.
notice the? Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry. I thought you were finished there.
I would have blamed Pat Patterson, but he's dead.
out of pay.
Oh well.
It's banana.
The
Stop.
crowd is going banana. You stooge. Those are the last words Pat Patterson uttered on WWE television. You stooge.
Oh shit! Well, yeah, when he lost the 24/7 championship,
Mhm.
that was fun.
That was awesome. That was my favorite. That was my favorite run of the 24/7 championship.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the best show it was ever on.
Yep, ended with Maria Kanellis. That was the best that it was ever.
It really was.
Yep.
It was, and I loved when Mike pinned her when they were she was getting an ultrasound. I loved it. That was the best thing Mike and Maria did while they were in WWE. That little stint, because then they cussed Mike.
She's doing all kinds of good right now, pal.
She's still Ring of Honor. Does Tony Khan own her now?
She's been at Impact, but
She made a strange comment though towards Tony about all that they have a great women's division and blah blah blah. Like I'm not sure where she was coming from. It kind of made it sound like it was her women's division. I don't know if she was just trying to sell or what her angle was.
They could use some more women's division in AEW still.
absolutely. Hey, speaking of the women's event, 3 championship design changes in 3 years. What the fuck are we doing here?
I mean, the first one was awful.
Finding the
No,
right
it was
one.
good. It was terrible. It was made for Rio.
The first one was terrible. The second one is better, but still not good. The third one looks good.
Third one's great.
Yeah, third one looks. I feel like they did the first two sort of in like, do them like those teensy tiny New Japan ones, because that's like it was like Kenny Omega designed the first two, and like once he got like shit for the first one, because the second champion was Nyla Rose, so yeah, they pulled it.
Yo, yeah.
They pulled her over and they gave her this little tiny belt. It's like
Gotta break bitches and belts.
seriously, like
Here-
what was that?
Here, seriously, this is what it looked like.
That's exactly,
Yeah.
that was exactly it. That was
terrible.
it was so bad, but so they had to redo it, and then once they redid it, it's a little better, but it's not. It's like not remarkable. Like you could see it and go, okay. Like it's
Yeah,
not terrible, but it's
this
just not
one-
remarkable.
This new one is dope.
It's much better.
How about Britt Baker's a side plate?
It's a very good side plate. I like it.
Yeah, so like how like the old school Intercontinental has like the wrestlers on it, right?
Yeah.
On the side plates. Well, that's what the side plates on this has, and one of them's Britt doing the lockjaw.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, she's immortalized now.
Fucking respect, pal.
Immortalized.
If anyone didn't know, Walt is a huge belt guy, so he's our belt
Also,
aficionado.
as far as Britt Baker is concerned, I'm in Britsburg right now.
He is.
I'll be there tomorrow.
Is it back there? Oh, it is back there. All right, yours is back there too.
Yeah,
Mine's
I put it in like a really I don't know. It's like an artsy spot, right?
Oh, it's so artsy.
Like it's there,
What are you
but
guys
it's
talking
not,
about?
right?
What are you talking about?
The towels, the Britsburg towels.
Yeah, the one that you didn't buy at the show, but somehow came on to later. That's not as cool.
Yeah, I did buy that at the show. Thank you.
He did. He
I
bought
also
it.
have.
Remember, he did buy it, and he
Oh,
bought
I did.
like $200 in DVDs too.
Yeah, and I also
You're
have
the
the
only
red Britt Baker one.
I gotta say,
is-
I haven't been somewhere in public with someone who was buying DVDs in like 20 years.
Yo, I
It's
told
been
you guys,
so-
I was like, listen, I'm gonna be back, and it's gonna be embarrassing.
Bro, I
I'm
just
surprised
spit
they
good
didn't just
whiskey
pull out a
everywhere. What
garbage
the hell?
bag.
I just
Like,
couldn't
here, kid,
believe-
just
I,
take off. What do you want?
I just couldn't believe there was a man selling DVDs there. Not only was there a man selling
I
DVDs,
couldn't either. I was so excited.
You bought them. Yeah.
I was pumped.
You know what the worst
this
part
was
is,
like,
Tom?
Oh shit!
You know what the
What?
worst part is, Tom?
I don't.
You were talking about Derek buying all these DVDs, and I'm like, I should bury Derek about buying DVDs in 2021. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm going to let it go. And then 2 seconds later, you're like, I just don't understand why you're buying DVDs. And fucking Derek buying DVDs.
Well, whenever you live on 28 kilobytes a second mode,
Spend like
I'm back in the AOL days.
$950.
It
That's
was
fair.
about $350.
He doesn't like buffering.
I don't like buffering, and I like DVD menus.
DVDs don't buffer, at least. Are they?
Not
are
as
they
long
those,
as my daughter does not get a hold of them. She will trash a fucking CD in 2 seconds.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm beyond that stage, but I know what you
Yeah.
mean. Now my kids just break couches, which is way more expensive to replace.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's so much. Wait till they're like 7.
Oh, so now I have to worry about couch smashing.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
There's
I'm
that.
gonna go up there. I'm gonna beat him now.
There's-
Beat him now.
there's a front bar to the couch, right? That like is meant to like it's basically it supports your knee.
Yeah.
Right. It's not supposed to support.
Sometimes when that shit is too high, it's the most uncomfortable couch in the world.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, my kids like to use that as like a springboard, like it's a rope, and they're doing a moonsault off of it. I don't know if you know this, but when they hit like 70 pounds, that and they jump on it with all the force to like spring back off of it, them things will snap in the middle because it's just wood. And if they do it repeatedly over and over and over, and eventually, I mean, it's inevitable.
Hey, pal.
So basically, Tom's got the
Hey, pal.
child version of Hugh Morris up in his living room.
Yeah.
Just pulling off, the last
Yeah,
laugh over and
That's
over.
why my
news-
couch. That's why
I
my
got news
couch
for
is
you.
sectional, and you can replace one section.
There you
I've
go.
done it. I've already had to do it once.
There you go.
I got news for you. I sit down and those things break sometimes. So like, big boy problems.
Well, you're a man's man. He's a manly man. He's a man's man.
Speaking of manly men,
Oh yeah, what that was the transition of the year.
There we
Holy shit.
go.
Holy shit! Good job.
There's a manly man.
Did you guys plan that?
Nope.
no.
That was so organic. That
I don't
was
know
so-
if there. Can you guys see the slideshow like loaded
Yes, sir.
up underneath?
I can. I don't know if Tom can't.
I can't,
because
but Derek can apparently.
I have different options than Tom for whatever reason.
We're gonna have
Okay.
to fix that after the show because I have room for one more on the team. I don't know what the team is.
Oh,
all of a
okay.
sudden,
Is that
but,
what
like,
that is? Okay.
StreamYard's like really upped their game here. I was telling Derek a couple of weeks ago, man, like if we could get the 1080p at our price level and then the premium be the 4K, I think that StreamYard would be absolutely worth every single dollar that I pay for it every month.
I only have a 1080p camera, so don't pay for 4K.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But like,
Yeah.
if we had 1080 at this price tier, it'd be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I'd say that's really the only sort of downside to it is that like I can see myself in 1080p, but then once it's pushed on YouTube, I'm in 720, which is
Yeah.
fine. I mean,
Well,
you
we're
don't need
all
to.
in 720, so there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we're at this point we're kind of cut off StreamYard, so it doesn't matter if you hit a 4K, you're not gonna get it.
So, but yeah. Anyways, man, how wild! William Regal
He
on
was just
AEW.
he came out there like, boys, I'm sick
So
of this shit.
so I'm gonna tell you that was probably the best debut that AEW's had since they debuted Malachi Black, and commentary didn't screw this one up. He just popped out, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's William Regal," and it absolutely
Yeah.
was. What a great signing for AEW, right? Like, not only as a guy who could be like an authority figure and talk, also like a guy who like with a wrestling mind, a guy who can help book the shows. Um, I mean, even if they use him as a, I don't know that Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson and John Moxley need a manager per se, because Bryan Danielson's one of
Yeah,
the
but
best.
it'd be real dope if they did.
I mean, I think there'll be a little bit of that. I don't know that that's necessarily why they brought him in. Like, oh,
Well, I mean, the
talk
thing that
instead of Bryan Danielson. Like, maybe talk also with Bryan Danielson.
the thing that I saw was that they brought him in, and he's on an on-screen and off-screen role contract. So like he's going to be an on-screen character, but he's also going to be helping behind the scenes.
I
And
mean, I really think that's going to be a big deal because if anything AEW has problems with is weaving a continuity aspect through the entirety of a show, and I feel like if there's something that William Regal particularly excels at, it's weaving that continuity angle and dripping it in through the show, whether it's just through backstage segments between other matches and what have you. There's that cohesion that WWE shows had, and particularly like when it was a very William Regal heavy NXT. Those NXT shows really had a lot of cohesion to where it was a complete show, and the show had a beginning, middle, and an end and a narrative as far as just like instead of it just being like here's a match and here's another match and here's another match and here's another match.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that per se, but it's just so much better if you spend 20 seconds 30 seconds tying things together with little backstage segments, and it really makes the whole show kind of a package. And it I think that William Regal is probably the best guy to bring in to like help them sort of make their show more cohesive and better than it already. Not that it's not a good show, because it is, but make it better. And that's absolutely what fantastic pickup. I mean, good. Like I say this every week because I pick up somebody every week. They're getting all this good fucking talent.
so I read one thing that was really interesting, and it's like people are concerned at the influx of incoming talent, not for the general reasons that we always tend to talk about, television time and stuff like that. It's like, hey, you're kind of setting this standard where you're going to be expected to deliver this week after week after week. That's a lot. That's a lot.
You know what helped that with this one though? Is because Tony Khan didn't pump it up like it was the second coming, and then it was basically like,
How
it
about
was
Ring of
alright.
Honor? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That the thing about
I'd been more happy with an HBO Max announcement personally.
Yeah, same.
But
Yeah, but
there was
hey,
no
don't forget.
word of William Regal coming out. No word at all. So you don't have to have the constant surprises. You just need to lay off the announcements. You need to lay off the teasing. You need to let it organically happen.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. That's kind of like Darius and Dante Martin. I mean, all of a sudden
Yeah,
we
it
got
was
top
dope.
fight. That was
dope.
cool. Hell yeah. Shit.
But
I
they
haven't
did
seen
kind
that
of
for you.
foreshadow that. I mean, there's a mystery team in the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. But hey, real quick, something we didn't talk about with Ring of Honor. You guys hear the talks with Cody Rhodes and WWE have fizzled out?
I heard they've stalled, but I heard that he's still on. They still think he's gonna be around for WrestleMania. They're still planning to have him. I'm not shocked. And I know you brought up Ring of Honor too, to sort of tie it in as like an invasion storyline and maybe put Cody in charge of Ring of Honor. It's like, guess what? I'm not signed to AEW. I'm in charge of Ring of Honor, and then he's gonna be a Ring of Honor champion and all that. Like, I mean, maybe. I don't think that that's the worst way to take Ring of Honor and pick it back up and start running with it. Um, I don't know. Is it a big work? It seems like too. It seems. I mean, it seems too much. Like if it does end up being, haha, we tricked you all. It's like, I'm not that tricked.
Yeah, this is all that would be almost as lame as Austin Theory showing up to be the mystery opponent for Brock Lesnar at the Madison Square Garden house show.
Uh-huh.
Twitter,
Yeah, keep your eyes on the Madison Square Garden show. That's all we saw all day. Keep your eyes on it. It's gonna be something
Well,
big.
I think they were
And
hoping
nothing.
that. I think they were hoping that it was gonna be somebody.
Yeah, you know what something big would be is Bray Wyatt coming back. Or we'll
he
cut to
ain't
the
that.
back and Cody Rhodes is rebuilding the throne that he broke down at the beginning of AEW. Like
what
that
they
would
oughta
be
do.
big. And then at WrestleMania it's complete, it's all glued back together. Here you go. Hey. But yeah,
Hey,
no, we
I've
got
been working on
nothing
this
at
for
the
3
Madison Square
months.
All right. So something kind of big happened yesterday. Derek, I'm sure you can't wait to discuss this, and you just probably just been sitting there thinking about it all day. Oh God, I can't wait to talk about Revolution tonight. Oh God, it's gonna be so much fun. Oh,
You know,
Tom,
I was
Tom
thinking that
probably
until I got a
hated
little
Revolution.
preview about what my coworkers here think about it. So
No, I said Walt. So here's the
Full
thing.
disclosure, I didn't watch the show.
I feel like Walt threw me under the bus here because I like the show. So
you deserve to be under there the way you were talking about it.
I wasn't. You don't know what I was talking about. You don't listen to me.
I
Anyway.
saw you in the text. I can
Anyway.
read. I've got eyes.
That's news to me. Anyway, so
Pew pew. Shots fired.
anyway, so one, it was it was super stacked card. I thought I thought the pre-show was even great. Well,
Yeah.
Pump the brakes on that. Statlander and
it begins.
Layla Hirsch that was a rough match. Not so good, but man, the main event of the pre-show was just, oh my god! Like, I usually don't like 3-on-3 matches, but for some reason this one was just so. I mean, and it was just the capacity of talent and Penta doing that Zero Miedo thing in Buddy Matthews' face, and Buddy Matthews just grabbed his finger and twisted it. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
somebody finally.
That was great. That was great. Yes.
Finally.
Yes.
But so
But I gotta say, to your credit, any Layla Hirsch match is going to be trash. So I totally agree with you.
I may be turning the page. I was into Layla Hirsch, and maybe it was just because she was the shining star amongst a bunch of turds, which was what that division was at the time. And maybe
Hey,
now...
no. Hey, Sheeta's back. Don't worry about it. Layla Hirsch is out of that doghouse.
All right, good. Well, Layla Hirsch is at least the second best. Then we got into the card proper, and I feel like it was just banger match after banger match after banger match. I thought Jericho and Kingston was really, really good. I thought that,
Really good.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the non-title matches really meant more, except for that match with Sting and Darby, and that I kind of was. By that point in the night, it was just sort of like, really, another one of these? Like, okay. But the non-title matches I felt like were really a lot better. CM Punk and MJF was great. I'm not super happy that they went to the they went to the well again for that, but I mean, they clearly, with the Wardlow face turn, just putting the ring down, like, I can't find the ring.
It's been coming.
It has been, and I thought they did that. I thought that was done really well.
I think they've done Wardlow very, very well. I'll be interested to see where that picks up on Wednesday.
So, I mean, the things I thought they didn't do well, though, were really all of the title matches. For starters, let me just point out, there were only 2 women's matches on the main card of the show. Both of them were pretty lackluster because, one, Jade's not great, and Ty Conti couldn't really see. It was one of the better matches Jade's ever put on. But it wasn't.
Well, she's been spending a lot of time with DB recently.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was bad. I just don't know that it was a pay-per-view quality match.
Listen, she's a
And
star in the making, pal.
she
I
is.
mean,
You're absolutely right.
she looked like $1,000,000 last night.
She did, and she had the Mortal Kombat gear on. Did you see? She had the
Her
Jade,
entrance was amazing. Yeah.
the Jade Mortal Kombat gear. That was to me like. So I don't want to criticize that match. Like that was
Nah,
probably
because her in ring's passable, but it's not
it's fine.
championship worthy.
No, yeah, but it's fine. So there was that match, and it was a little short, and then there was Dr. Britt versus Thunder Rosa, which honestly I thought was going to be better. Maybe I had my hopes
Thunder
up a
Rosa
little.
was hurt going into that match. She fucked her
Maybe that's
shoulder up
what.
on Friday.
Okay, then that's what it was, because I it seemed a little bit pulled back, and I was like, I really thought this was going to be something, and it really wasn't. They kept it on Britt, which I think is good.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's. I mean, for a $50 pay-per-view, I think you got to. This is where this is where you show your hand because people paid for this. But so there was that. But it's a criticism that there were no other women's matches on this card, and there were a lot of men's matches that I felt like could have just as easily been on, like the Sting Darby trios match, like that versus the Matt Hardy, the Hardy family, like that could have just as easily been a match this Wednesday. Like that could have opened the show this Wednesday, and
Yeah, with Jeff, because Jeff's gonna show up on Wednesday.
Exactly. Like they could have thrown another women's match in there, and I think I
Yeah,
think
but that begs the question: what women's match?
I don't
Thank
know,
you.
but they should have built one. Like they didn't. Like,
You sit here and shit on their women's division.
Hold
every
on.
week.
Look, they can't. You telling me they can't build it? They got 2 TV shows. They could have built this. They could have built something. Anything.
The fuck do you want? Abaddon versus, like the librarian chick or something?
Bro, give me Serena Deeb, pal.
Yeah, give me Serena.
Can I get a professor's challenge?
How about Serena? How about Serena Deeb versus Anna Jay? Got Anna Jay. How about
the professor's challenge? Have Anna Jay fucking go to like the last 45 seconds. Yeah, it's a 5-minute filler, but I mean that's watchable.
And then we'd be sitting here bitching about a 5-minute filler.
No, we wouldn't be because there would have been another.
Because it would be too much women's matches. Because
No,
they
there
suck
wouldn't
anyway.
have been.
So why are we
Look,
even showcasing them?
They would need
go. You I hate the fact that you only halfway listen to shit. Like you have the worst case of selective hearing I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of, and mine is top tier. Like my wife must ask me to do things 6, 7, 4, 5, 35 million times a day, and like I might do 1 or 2 things. You don't listen to shit, bud.
Lindsay's a saint. She really is. But anyway,
you don't listen to nothing.
But
nothing.
So yeah, could have used another women's match. Maybe something with Serena Deeb. Bring Anna Jay out there too. Maybe the bunny. Is the bunny hurt? Give me the bunny. Give me some bunny. Give me some. Who's the bunny's? Who's the bunny's friend?
Serena Deeb versus anybody.
Yeah, great.
Would have been great.
5, 6. How long did that Sting Darby match get? Just give Serena Deeb that time with literally anybody else.
I mean, I didn't watch the show, so like my opinion is biased, but like the fact
I did.
that, like,
but putting that Sting Darby match on there.
I'm not saying that didn't need to be there either. I think that they've been building that story very well over the last.
And they have, you know what, they have been. But you know what,
that deserves a blow off.
I don't think it's a pay-per-view story, and that's not even the blow off. That's like a mid. That's like the mid thing. Because you're right, they're gonna have Matt take a pin again at some point, and then Andrade and the family office will turn on him, and then Jeff will make the save. But they're not there yet. So that could have happened at this pay-per-view, but it didn't because it wasn't ready for this pay-per-view. But this is this is all the marbles. It's not like they have a pay-per-view coming up next month. They don't have, Fastlane coming up next month. We're not going to get another AEW pay-per-view for 3 months now. So
Great. Okay.
This was they had all their marbles here. They had all the build here, and they're like, all these stories just aren't done cooking yet. And now this is actually a great transition because this gets me to my point that I was gonna make. Every title was on the line. Not a single title changed hands at a $50 pay-per-view. Are you telling me that if a title doesn't change, shut up. You telling me that if a title doesn't change hands at WrestleMania, you won't be disappointed as shit? You telling me that if a title doesn't change hands at SummerSlam, that you won't be like, what the fuck? You telling me that if titles change hands at major pay-per-views. It's important. Look, I'm not saying you had to beat Adam Page in the main event, but somebody should have lost the title to somebody else. You telling me that they couldn't have dropped the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, who have not really been involved in the storyline, somehow get tossed in just because of the champions with this? That you telling me they couldn't have dropped the title in some way so that the Young Bucks, they could have feuded over the title instead of just feuding with each other?
It's not there yet. You got to wait till Kenny Omega comes back.
Oh, okay. So nothing is here yet for the $50 pay-per-view that they've had 3 months to build up. And in 3 months, they couldn't build up one title change? That's what you're
How many
saying?
fantastic matches, though, did you get for the $50?
They were great. I'm not telling you they weren't great. I'm telling you that they were off in the booking because did nothing for the storyline-wise. Everybody's exactly in the same place they were last week.
So you're
after
telling
a $50
me then
pay-per-view
that if I get a title change on free TV, which is not even free, and we've discussed this in previous weeks, that free TV is not free. That's bullshit.
It is.
Exists.
It is. It absolutely is. We're on the same page.
So we're much happier with that. That we're gonna praise that and be like, oh wow, look what we got out of value for this. Whereas,
well, I am gonna praise that, but at the same time, like, it needs to happen on. If it's gonna happen anywhere, it has to happen on a pay-per-view.
Look at the build. Look at the storytelling.
I did, and they should have built it better so that it could have.
God.
Look, it's a legitimate criticism.
Go watch your Monday Night Raw. This is bullshit.
I am. Hold on.
Ah, there he comes. Yeah.
Listen,
this fucking craziness, man. This is craziness. Hold on.
It's not
like,
craziness.
How can you sit here and say that you love wrestling? You love watching the art of wrestling.
No,
and then
I
you're
hate
gonna sit here and cry that you didn't get a fucking.
There are no tears in my eyes.
Title change? A title change.
Yeah.
What does that matter? It doesn't matter. You know what you did get? You got a swerve out of
Swerve showed up?
Shit. I'm so mad.
Swerve signed.
Yeah, Swerve showed up.
Swerve's all elite.
That wasn't even what I was going for. But Wardlow, we had the big change of Wardlow there. You had that hell of a match there. You had William Regal come out of nowhere, which no one saw coming.
Did I not praise all these things? I swear to God, I praised all this stuff.
You did praise them in earlier segments, and then now that we're an hour into the show, you want to sit here and shit all over the pay-per-view.
No. You're selectively hearing things again. There is no poo-poo in me for any of those things you just mentioned. I have no poop for those. However, what I have poop for is the lack of a title change because it's a $50 pay-per-view. Like you gotta do it. You gotta. Oh, it wasn't there yet. They had 3 months to build to this. Figure it out.
You don't gotta. You don't.
Well,
you watched the pay-per-view?
Yeah, start to finish.
You watched it, right, Tom?
Yeah, start to finish. Start to finish.
Yeah. Did you pay $50? You did?
Sure.
Moving on. Yes, Walter.
Hey, so can I have some input here?
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's a big deal that title didn't change hands. But here's what I will say. I think that there were a lot of storylines that could have facilitated title changes on this show and didn't. I absolutely agree with Tom. Jurassic Express has been underwhelming as tag team champions in a company that prides themselves on having the best tag team division in all of professional wrestling. To have your tag team champions have a lackluster title reign is just not acceptable. So switch courses. I'm not saying that Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy don't deserve to be the tag team champions. They absolutely do. Their title reign is just underwhelming. Kind of like Adam Page. Like, it's still very underwhelming for me. I'm not into it. And I think that Adam Cole and the story that they told going into this really put him in a situation that he should have left that arena last night as the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. The fact that it didn't happen doesn't really matter because it's going to
I
happen
wasn't
at some
surprised
point.
by it, but yeah. I mean, at this point, they're setting it up that the title can really only change hands at All In. And it's like, but if the titles aren't going to change hands because it's too soon,
Well, I mean,
they
Moxley
haven't built.
won the title at Revolution.
That's true. Okay. But I mean, but like I'm saying, they're building it up to this point now where it's like, well, the titles can only change hands after it's been long enough, and well, it hasn't quite been long enough yet, so you can almost like forget, like just like, well, I don't care about this story because it hasn't been long enough yet, and like we almost said that last week, especially with about Adam Cole. Like this was the best feud that Adam Page has had, by
I agree.
far.
He was far more engaged in this, and I don't know if that's like, the fact that Adam Cole is a part of that whole little clicky click, with those guys or not.
I mean, I
they
think
were
they have
able
better
to,
chemistry too.
yeah,
I saw
they were
people-
able to
I'm
work
kinda
on
over
some
that.
things, but
I'm really over the whole Red Dragon, Young Bucks, Adam
nah,
Cole.
it's about to
No,
explode, pal, and it's
yeah,
about to be a lot of fun.
I'm fully into. I could
I hope
not
so.
be more into
I'm
this.
just ready
It
for
really
it to
is.
happen.
It really is. I think that we're going to get some epic matches out of Kenny Omega and Adam Cole over the AEW Championship. I think we're going to get some great matches for the tag team championships between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. I think we're about to get a lot of really, really great shit with this, implosion of the Elite, in the next year. We're about to get a lot of fun stuff. I'm really believable in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, but that's the point. That's my point, is that I think this is like the prime story going on right now. Like I think this is really the like this is the main event. Like that's what's going on right now. Like that's what's being told the best. That's what's being built the best. Like who's Adam Page fight next? Whomever wins the most matches. So what is it going to be like? Malachi Black? They're going to pull him out of what he's into now to. But I'm just saying, like who's next on the totem pole? Because that's how they do these things. At least for the title. And I think that it didn't. To me, it was just like it's too soon. It had had it been a year from now, and Adam Cole had been had been in AEW for over a year at that point, and had solidified some things and maybe won the TNT title once and done some other stuff, and then got to this point. I think it's a different story, but it's like they almost built it to me in a way where it was like, well, we're not going to put it on Adam Cole at this point, and we want you to know that going into this. But how fun was that story, right? And it's like, but I was invested in the story, and I wanted to be invested in the story, and then you ended it in a way that was disappointing to me. But in the same aspect of it too, is like you didn't end any you didn't like advance anybody's storyline title wise, and I feel like the titles, like, they should be the main focus of your show, right? Your titles are the most important things. So everybody except for Sammy, and Sammy just defended on Friday in a great match, by the way. Holy hell, that was a great match. And that made sense to keep it on Sammy in that match. Whoo boy, whoo, great, good stuff. But for
Sammy's been such a treasure throughout his entire time with us here at AEW.
He is, he went from a goofy jabroni with a panda head.
Let's not forget he got suspended for a couple of months, pal.
Yeah, but anyway,
I
mean, he's come back. He's come back stronger and better, and like literally just like, I mean,
let's not forget that he broke his own home.
But he has Ty Conti now. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, there's sometimes
there's give and take.
If you're gonna make an omelet, you gotta break a few eggs, I guess, right? But no. Anyway, sorry to get off track. Well, yes, what you said, you summed up sort of what I was getting at, is that there were had one title change. I didn't expect Adam Cole to win. had, Red Dragon won the tag team titles and then but not and pinned Matt Jackson or something like that. But then you get everybody involved. You get then maybe you build up Lucha or the Jurassic Express from that. It's like, we didn't lose. You pinned a friggin' Young Buck. You didn't pin me. I was the champion. That's still my title. You have that feud, and then
yeah, but that's very
maybe,
sports entertainment.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. They got a guy with his hands in his pockets.
Hey,
You're
he
right.
got hurt.
I'm sorry.
Speaking of the guy with the hands in his pockets, I watched the first half of the pay-per-view with my dad, and he doesn't watch wrestling obviously at all. But he's like, so what's up with this guy?
Watches
I'm
with
into
you
him.
like every week, doesn't he?
Oh,
You talk about your dad all the
sometimes.
time.
Hey,
You
Derek.
watch like every week.
Hey, Derek.
He was over for Orange Cassidy. Yeah.
Hey, Derek. Hey, two things.
Yeah.
First of all, okay. Once we hit the next topic, we're match of the week and we're go home, because I don't know if you've recognized the time on the clock. Okay.
I did. Yes.
Okay. Second thing. All right. When you want to announce that you have to take a pee break, you may want to do it in the backstage chat, not the live YouTube chat.
Oh, that goes to YouTube? Well, shit.
Let's talk about Vader.
So Vader
Wow.
has
It
been
is about
confirmed
time.
for the 2022 WWE Hall of Fame class. Mr. Leon White.
I love Vader. I mean, I feel like that's, if you've listened to this show and you've known me, I fucking love Vader. God, I love
Greatest
Vader.
super heavyweight of all time.
I love I love comparing people to Vader. It's one of my favorite things when I'm like, I see some Vader in this one. It's like that to me. That's like one of the highest compliments you can get. It's
yeah,
like,
except
man,
sometimes you get a little carried away. Like you tried to tell me that Jonah Rock or Bronson Reed or
You're
fucking
right.
what? Calm down.
All right, you're right. He ain't Vader. But oh man, fucking Vader. Look, this is Vader going to the Hall of Fame is like really like a finally kind of thing. I wish it would have happened while the man was alive, because man, what a great, like, maybe his WWF run wasn't any good, and that's really Vince's fault. It wasn't Vader's fault, because Vader put on good match. It was Vince's fault and it was Shawn Michaels' fault. But his WCW run was amazing.
Yeah.
That was actually when I got into WCW, because it was actually on TNT, and it was on at a time that like I could watch it like as a child. Like it was on at like 8 o'clock, and like I saw Vader versus Sting. Good God, so good. And then as an adult, I went back and watched a lot of his, because he went to Japan after that. Watched his New Japan stuff. God, was he good in Japan. I had the DVD, or no, I had the VHS that had some Vader stuff on it. Vader in Japan, and just greatest super heavyweight of all time. Really, just one of the best big men, probably the best big man to ever do. People like to talk about Bam Bam Bigelow. I don't know that Bam Bam Bigelow could hold a candle to Big Van Vader. And at this point, yeah, I mean, well deserved. It's about freaking time. It's time. It's time. It's Vader time.
Time.
I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited.
I am too. Listen, and here's the thing. Here's my thing. Like, it needs to just be these two at this point. Like, if you,
I mean, this is a hell of a class.
everybody else going to get outshadowed here.
If it's just these two, this is a hell of a class.
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
This is one of the best. This would be like inducting Hulk Hogan and posthumously the Macho Man at the same time, for me.
Yes,
personally.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's a fair comparison. I really do. Hey, Derek, what do you think about Big Van Vader hitting the WWE Hall of Fame?
I've never really been a huge fan, fellas. That's why I was going to actually dip out on my pee break there. Well, okay, so Excuse me, I'm sorry. He just kind of hit at a time in my
Too many
watching
vitamins.
stage where I just wasn't into it. It's big, heavy hitting stuff, and at this point, I'd have been, I don't know, how old would I have been? Like 8.
You mean seeing a 400-pound man do a moonsault didn't make
He
you
didn't
go,
do no moonsaults.
Bro, okay.
bro,
I'm gonna
He
stop
did?
you right there.
bro?
Okay, well, maybe
Yeah.
maybe that was just, I didn't see
Listen,
that episode.
Big Van Vader.
Yeah, I don't
was-
really have
Every
great episode or great. I'm sorry, guys.
Can we get a
I'm
can
not
we
saying
get a better
no,
wrestling fan?
I don't like this
Can we
Samoa
get-
Joe thing. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right.
I'm not wrong.
I'm just saying
You're not right.
I
You're
didn't
not right. You're
see
wrong.
what you saw.
Nah, that's
So-
fair. But
His whole
I mean,
career.
you know,
that's what I saw. I saw his career.
sometimes, Derek, okay, you're just fucking wrong, right? Like, remember the whole Mauro Ranallo thing? Okay, like,
Yeah.
but sometimes you're just wrong, and it's okay because we love you, and like, our opinion of you doesn't change.
And I'm
right?
happy to admit when I am.
But
We're
like,
still gonna bring you with us when we go to AEW here in a couple months.
but you're wrong. Okay, so
Well, you
like,
have to if you want to get
next
back
month.
to
Shit.
listen, let me explain this to you in the only way that I can. Okay, you kind of like Keith Lee.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Like,
Love Keith Lee.
you enjoy watching Keith Lee.
I do.
Okay, you know, you
That ladder
you
match
kind of like
fits.
you kind of like watching
He was
Wardlow,
great at it.
right? Like you like what Wardlow does. Okay.
Wardlow's not like Keith Lee.
You like
baby.
Brian Cage. You kind of like watching what Brian Cage does.
I mean, if he would ever do anything.
Okay, right? And like,
He re-signed.
you love
Fucking-
Yoko, right? Like, looking back at life, Yoko was the man,
When he could move, he was.
right? So like, I want
Jim
you to take
Cornette was
all
his
of these
manager.
guys. Okay, Bam Bam Bigelow, right? Bam Bam.
Bam Bam was good stuff.
So
like Bam Bam.
Vader was all of these guys before those guys were those guys.
And after he was that guy after those, because he wrestled till he was like 50,
Like,
and then he
Big
did all
Van
the same
Vader
stuff.
is by far one of the greatest super heavyweights of all time. Like,
No, he's the best. Like
when I look at like top fucking big men, he's in my top 5. Okay, you've got Taker, and this is in no order.
I mean,
You've got
if we're
Taker,
putting Taker,
you've
in
got
big men,
Yoko,
okay.
You've got Vader, you've got Bam Bam, right? Like, I don't have a fifth off the top of my head.
I would say Kane. Kane. If you're gonna
That's
put,
fair,
If
right?
you're gonna put Taker, you got to put Kane.
But like, Vader's that guy.
Yeah.
And this is fucking phenomenal.
This is a big This is also because WCW or WWE owns all that WCW Vader stuff, which I think
Yes.
is really important because
Yes.
his feud with Sting is
Yes.
literally it's
Harley Race
basically-
was his manager at that time, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. But it's, and you know what though? If I were to say this to you right now, you would say, "How was that not the biggest thing that ever happened ever?" His manager in WWF was fucking Jim Cornette.
Yeah. Yeah.
You believe that? Like, oh my god! Like how? Like think about like whatever 30 years ago. So young man Jim Cornette as
He's a heel.
he's a heel as Vader's manager, and it's Vader. Like
Motherfucker.
that would get over right now in a way that would be it would be the biggest thing in wrestling. But yeah, so Vader, we felt we lost the plot, but Vader being in the Hall of Fame, when I saw it announced, I was like, number one, it's about time. It's about Vader time. So yeah, so getting Vader in, I think, is a big deal.
No, I think it's great.
I would think it would be, I would be fine with just him and Taker going in, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to pick, they're going to pick.
Maybe
they're
give
gonna
us a Warrior Award winner.
A warrior. Well, they're gonna do that.
And then just be done.
No, well, they're gonna pick somebody of color for sure to put in. That's just what they do. Are you sure? I feel like they do that every year.
Listen, I don't think it needs to happen.
Well, I think they're gonna do it.
I think
still.
we could have got away with Taker going in by himself.
I think they're gonna do it though. Still, I think there's plenty of guys too that could totally, they could totally induct, that are either alive or not. I mean, I think there's some ways to get. They're not going. They're gonna do the full class. So they're gonna do somebody who's alive. They're gonna do the top guy who's Taker. They're gonna do somebody who's dead, Vader. They'll do a tag team of some sort, and maybe a group, and maybe one off, maybe a woman, somewhere.
Damn.
Is Jackie a Hall of Famer? He's a Hall of
Yes.
Famer already. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jacqueline's already a Hall of Famer. Who might not be? Maybe they'll do China.
I mean, she
Ducker.
went in last
Already
year
in
with
there.
DX.
Yeah, but not. She hasn't gone in as a singles.
She'll never go in by herself.
I don't know, man. They put her in the game this year. She hasn't been in the game in a long time since she was alive. I'm just saying, man. Times are
I
changing.
don't believe it. I don't believe it.
You're probably right. I mean, they probably won't. I'm just saying. Times are changing. I think there's a point in time where they will put her in by herself. It just maybe isn't yet.
No. Hey. The most anticipated segment in all of professional wrestling, the One Fall WrestleCast match of the week. And as always, Tom.
Oh, my Undertaker. No. All right. So there was a lot of good wrestling this week. It was really hard to pick. I have to. So I'm not gonna pick this match as my match of the week, but because I feel like this match is going to get overshadowed and it got a little buried, and it's going to. But I want to cement it as something I talked about on match of the week. Is the 3-on-3 match that happened on the AEW buy-in for this show for their Revolution last night is so House of Black with Buddy Matthews and Brody King and Malachi Black versus Death Triangle, which included our good friend Eric Redbeard, who is Eric Rowan, was Eric Rowan in WWE. One, bringing in Eric, I hope Eric Redbeard becomes All Elite. I don't know if he doesn't want to. Maybe he doesn't want the schedule. I don't know what his personal thing about it is. But I've always been a fan of this guy. Like I like the way he works as a big man. I like the way he throws a drop kick. It's a weird way to say it, but like I think that like he is a very he's a good throwback kind of guy that can work a modern style. And I like him as a performer and as a wrestler. I thought his run with Daniel Bryan, particularly when Daniel Bryan was the Earth's champion, was just, I mean, some of the best wrestling, some of the best stuff, some of the best sports entertainment I've ever seen, and it's still I hold that very near and dear. So him being in this match I thought was a good deal. He was really just in it because Ray Phoenix is hurt still. He'll be back, but he was hurt. Pac is phenomenal. Pentagon I like better without Ray Phoenix. It's just a fact. And he did the Zero Miedo thing, and Buddy Murphy grabbed his fingers and was like, "Fuck this, snap this off." I love
Sick of this gimmick.
Yeah, sick of this. We snap this. Like he took all the frustration that I have towards that gimmick and was like, "I'm gonna break this off."
Same, Buddy Murphy, same.
But I actually do really I like Penta without the like. If he doesn't stop the match to do this, like I like everything else Penta does. So that's sort of my like runner up. But my match of the week really was Darby Allin versus Andrade versus versus Sammy Guevara. I mean, what a good match. The finish I thought really was perfect, and it was a very perfect, and it was, Sammy retained. And, you know, I think this is the way you retain. Because the way Sammy retained was just so good, because he got just kind of like thrown out of the ring, but he did that Sammy thing, which is just continuity. And I feel like Sammy does continuity on his own, where he does a thing where he pops back up and just sprints back in to just get into the spot where it's like he's dead. Well, I'm alive. Flip, done. Got it, right? And so it was Sammy hit his finisher, and then Andrade throws Sammy out of the ring. Darby knocks him down, coffin drop. What the hell just happened?
Derek's wife has terrible gas.
Anyway, so it looks like Darby's about to pin because he hits the coffin drop on Andrade, and then Sammy wakes up from the dead, sprints up to the top rope, flies off, breaks the pinfall, hits both of them. Now Andrade's dead. Andrade's been hit by like 5 finishers at this point. Hits Sammy. I just, for a TV match on a Friday night, it was. It was the perfect finish to that. It really was, and I thought it really tied that together. That's the kind of title retention I want to see, because I thought that all these other titles being up, somebody's gonna drop it. I'm fine with this one, but that was great. So that's my match of the week because Sammy is the shining star that I always thought maybe he could be, and he's really come to from being kind of zero to hero, right?
I knew on Friday night around 11:15 when I read the message that said Sammy Guevara versus Andrade versus Darby Allin. Go out of your way to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom rarely gives those kind of reviews. Yeah. That says a lot.
When Tom tells me that I need to watch something, 9.5 times out of 10, I go and I find it and I watch it because Tom and I's views are rather similar. I with the in-ring aspect, I lean more towards Derek with some of the fun stuff, right? But when Tom gives a match recommendation, I'm fucking front row, and I watched it twice. I'll tell you what, it's probably one of the best triple threat matches that I remember seeing.
And it really made a lot of sense.
At least 10 years. It made a lot of sense. Even early on, you sent the message and I got home and I was kind of scrolling through to see what else I missed from you guys that night. And I started Rampage and I was like, oh, they're leading with this. And I was in it. And man, it made a lot of sense. The way that they told the triple threat,
which is hard to do. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, WWE does it terribly a lot. And so I feel like AEW rarely does it really well. But they really it made a lot of sense. The build made a lot of sense to it, and then the match itself made a ton of sense. And Sammy retaining made a ton of sense. Him being involved and tied into all of it, I thought was great. It really clicked. It clicked in every way for me. So yeah. But anyway, who else has a match of the week?
Derek.
I don't have a match of the week.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, good night then.
Yeah, there wasn't enough wrestling for me to actually enjoy anything.
No, it's terrible. What a shit.
No. You know what my match of the week was, and you guys are probably gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, saw that one coming." It was CM Punk, and it was MJF. It was great. There was so much nuance to that, and it was the one that I didn't think that we wanted. And I agreed with you guys. Leading up to this, it's man, I really wish that they'd just move on from this. But once we got there, and after the promo that we got last week leading up to this, and the week before that, those two combined together to then give us this huge dog collar match.
You know what, though, bud? Let me just step in for a hot second. I don't want you to lose your train of thought because I know that it's hard to retain sometimes. So just hang on to what you got. Okay. Just hang on.
Got it.
Hang on. Well, none of us. I think this is a prime example where Tony Khan actually listens, and he knew that we didn't want this fucking match, but he made sure that we were getting it. But he made sure that it was dope in the process. So hey man, they killed this shit. So absolutely, this was the one match that I've watched.
Yeah, It was big time dope, and the
Continue.
Wardlow segment, being included in there with the turn there. Um, that's been building for a while. But I cannot 100% say I saw it coming last night. Um,
Last night
at
was as
all.
good a night as any to do it, though.
Exactly. There's been so many opportunities, and he's been so close for I feel like for so long, and then just out of nowhere, here we go. Oh shit, it's time, isn't it? And yeah, that turned into one hell of a bloodbath. And Tom, I know in the text earlier you said there was too much color,
Well,
and
not
that
for this. So I felt like it made a lot of sense in this match, but this was like one of 3 or 4 matches that got kind of like Danielson and I mean Mox and Danielson were always going to get color too, and I feel it. But it's like it's one of those things where it's like I feel like blood is such a like it's something that you should kind of reserve, especially on a pay per view, for just like if you're gonna do it in the dog collar match, right? But you know, but they also did like Sting got color too during the triple the 3-on-3 there towards the end, like so
yeah,
like
I could have done without that.
so.
There
But I
was
mean,
the
it was
let
like
me up between each segment though that
uh,
had color.
there was. I'm just saying there was like it happened 3 times, and it was or was it
Yeah,
even 4? Did Britain they didn't get color with
they did not get
Thunder Rosa and
color.
Britt.
No.
Okay.
Mm.
But I'm just it was a little too much. I feel like they should have maybe kept it to 2. Honestly, I feel like maybe we should just kept it to 1, but that's just me. That's I mean that's one of those things too without there being like a true locker room leader, a true top guy to be like, hey, I'm getting color in my match. You keep that shit in your face, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So I think there's a little bit there to that, but it was fine. I didn't really mention it in the because it was inconsequential. I just feel like it was a little overused. They went to the well once too often,
Yeah,
but not with this
I
match.
was
This
all right.
match deserved it. This match deserved it, and I thought I knew
This
they were
match
gonna
needed
get it.
it, and I feel like
But
after this, we're now going to pivot away from the MJF CM Punk feud and
that
see
has to
more of
stop.
MJF and Wardlow.
Right, that has to
Now we're on
happen.
to something completely different over here. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I mean, especially now that Wardlow won the Face of the Revolution ladder match. I mean, he's gonna absolutely decimate Sammy Guevara at some point. Like
well,
that's gonna happen.
either that's gonna happen or that's either gonna happen or he's gonna be almost winning, and then MJF's going to do something to cost him the match to get him back. Well, match of the week.
My match of the week was from Friday Night SmackDown.
This is a good shit too. Not a whole lot of wrestling though.
Ricochet versus Sami Zayn.
Yeah, there's a title change for you.
The fact that we got the fairly recorded match, right? And everything that came with it. Like we got some WrestleMania storytelling. Okay, Johnny Knoxville clearly cost Sami Zayn the championship,
Oh
and
yeah.
Sami Zayn was able to challenge Johnny Knoxville backstage in a great promo segment, by the way. Like it was,
Sammy's been fantastic. Sammy's on the run of his career.
Sami
Sammy's doing.
Zayn has been phenomenal since he started this whole conspiracy theory thing. What, 2 years ago? Like right before the pandemic.
He's been doing his best work, and I loved him as El Generico, and I loved his NXT run, but he has literally just been in god mode of like this guy is much must see TV, and he's had a couple intercontinental title runs, and I think those have been good. But even when he's not the intercontinental champion, and they stick him on commentary, they let him have matches, he gets time every week, and every week I feel like his time is used well. I feel like his rock bottom was sort of his feud with Bobby Lashley, which was just the worst thing I've ever seen. But everything since you're right, since he's done that conspiracy theorist like Che Guevara type thing has been just uh, every week. Like he's got the right thing to say, and it's like he's got heat, but it's funny. It's
Yeah,
funny,
it's
but it's
awesome.
all. But it's funny, but it's cool, and it's just like he's hitting on all the levels. Like everything hits, and I think the fans react right to it. I think that obviously Vince McMahon likes it. Just re-sign the guy for some good money. So yeah, I'm all about it. I like that match. That was a good match too.
It was a great match.
Very
You
excited
know,
to see Ricochet as IC champ too.
the work,
Love title changes, and that was great.
the
Also,
work.
Balor won the fucking U.S. champ too on Monday, which was I fucking love title changes.
What a pop! What a pop for that.
I love
But
title changes.
the fact that like we get to see Ricochet as the IC champion, it's great. You know, and now you take the title implications off the Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn thing at WrestleMania, which makes absolute sense. But you know what I want to see? You know what I want to see?
Now what?
I want to see Ricochet versus Mustafa Ali for the Intercontinental Championship at fucking WrestleMania. That's what I want to see.
Guess
Because
what you
they
ain't
still
gonna
owe us the third match. Okay, because we got 2 on main event, and both of them were absolute bangers. Let's get the third one.
I don't think you're gonna get that.
Nah, I'm definitely not getting that.
But I would not oppose that. If somebody asked me, if they called me, if Vince McMahon called me and was like, hey pal, do you want to see Mustafa Ali go up against Ricochet at WrestleMania? I'd be like, fuck yeah, Vince. Yeah, I do.
Absolutely.
I would love that. That'd be amazing. And maybe I'd get that, or maybe Vince would be like, that's not good shit, pal. Fuck you, and hang up the phone. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's not going to happen.
No,
not going to happen.
No, I hope Vince called me. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be dope.
Yeah.
But your name's not Pat McAfee. You're just another Pittsburgh schlub.
Call me Vince. Maybe Pat will call me.
Maybe.
Call me Pat.
All right, bud. Well, we're going to go ahead and take it home because, as I'm sure everybody heard, Derek is dealing with some dad issues.
Parenting.
So
parenting is
parenting, and then I know Tom wants to go parent, and I would like to go parent. So yeah, so we're gonna take it on out of here. Hey, bud, I appreciate it, man. I really feel like we had a nice little put together show tonight.
We were so put together.
Well, a little put together.
We're so professional. We started off a little low, but
hey, listen.
That was by design.
Listen, real quick. Friend of the show, Pat Martin. Congratulations,
Hi, Pat.
pal. I really hope that your opening day at 748 was fantastic, bro. I'm super proud of you. I love you to death, and man, you've absolutely earned this opportunity, bud. So
where is this one? Just in case I'm in the neighborhood. I know.
It's in the capital of the great state of West Virginia.
Oh, Charleston.
Yes, sir. So
I haven't been to Charleston in 20 years, but
So, friend of the show, Pat Martin.
At least,
I appreciate you, pal.
At least if I'm in West Virginia's capital, I know where I can go and get some good fucking food.
Absolutely. So, Derek, we're gonna take it home, bud. I'm glad that you came back. But yeah.
So good. Hey, sorry about that, fellas. My daughter was having a bit of a meltdown there.
No, it's all good.
It's okay.
Got a parent on the head.
Look, you got to be dad sometimes. My kids are too old to do for that. So if that happens to me, I gotta go yell. I don't know. I'm not a yeller, except Derek.
So, absolutely,
he could take it. He's a man.
Yeah,
take it stride.
He's just a little guy. Hey, make sure you check us out over on social media, Twitter and Instagram at @1_fall WC. That's ONE. If you're watching us on YouTube, you know that we exist. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hey, and listen, if you're here hanging out in the stream, please hit the like button before you exit. We really appreciate it. Audio folks, thank you so much. You just continue to just show up and show out, and we appreciate you so very much. So with all that being said, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.